and I do think the alternatives that that President Obama was looking for do lie in more consumer-centered healthcare, at least in options. When we look at options for affordability, options to buy, especially for people who aren't covered in groups or through business, to buy, catastrophic coverage. When we insist that everybody's got to get, gold-plated coverage, that drives the cost up. And then, look, we got plenty of work to do as a state policy think tank in Rhode Island. Joel referred to the cost, for instance, of fertility treatments. In vitro fertilization is mandated in our state, by state law. So that we have work to do we have work to do right here in Rhode Island. And I would like that. Look, they tried. I mentioned they have tried an experiment very similar to Obamacare, or this program in Massachusetts. I don't think the results have been stellar, but they argued about it, they tried it. I really think that we can let the laboratories of democracy work, and that's certainly something that I feel strongly about.
Representative Loughlin, thank you so much for having us. Thank you, panel, also. I have a question that no one's brought up. I had a lot of questions, but people here brought them up.
By the way, I hope so.
AARP is strongly recommending through mailings and our television ads going with the new healthcare reform plan. And I was wondering if you have any answers as to why they're pushing that. I'd like to know, because the AARP is supposed to be representing people in need, and I'm very curious as to why. I think I have suspicions, but if you have any answers, could you please tell us all?
That's an excellent question. In fact, I'm pleased to know that I just in March got my AARP card, and apparently now they're sending them to those of us who are 25.
I think, and this, I want to say this again, a little bit of lightness. I don't intend to make an enormous partisan jab here, but I couldn't help but, people are familiar with the Lost television show, and everything there, that was on this island took place as part of the DARPA initiative. Well, I actually think that the AARP could easily grab that acronym. I think they qualify more as the Democratic Association of Retired People. And this is, I think that it's unfortunate. But I can only say, you never find me on their membership list, although they started sending, I got to be 52 this year, so they started sending me some stuff. I don't really plan to retire, but I think, you always have to choose. There are also organizations that I think provide a significant alternative to the AARP, where you can raise your voice if you are within the cohort of retired people.
I think, Brian, though, not to interrupt, but what's the motivation? What's the motivation for the real active and vocal support of AARP in a plan that arguably is not in the best interest of their membership?
New contract on Medicaid. Yeah, look, I have to view this in many ways. That's the same kind of question you asked when you said, well, if the unions think a public option is such a great thing, are they willing to come to the table and say, look, our members will lead the way. All the teachers in Rhode Island are going right on the... No, they're not. And you know what? They shouldn't, because the job of the union, of course, is what it should be, right? Is to get what they can for their members. They're marketing for their members.
But don't advocate something for me that is not good enough for your members.
And I think that you do see some sense that, look, as long as we can kind of exempt our, at least perceive to exempt or carve out something or to advance our influence, maybe we're going to go along with the program, because this is the big initiative of this administration, and if you want this administration to pay attention to your agenda, I think you're considered to be, a pretty bad soldier if you aren't marching to this, and I'm not cynical about that at all. I mean, that's just plain politics. They're marching with the people who are in charge because they have other things they'd like to get done. They think they can limit the damage to their members, or at least the damage to their reputation that they sold their members out. And I think you have to take them to task. If you have issues with AARP, especially to the extent that they kind of claim to speak for virtually everybody who falls in that category. I hope that you're vocal if you disagree with that.
I think if you see the ads on TV for AARP and supplemental health insurance plans for Medicare, they're all in partnership with United Healthcare. So be aware of independence.
I think we've all heard the news of membership of the AARP has dropped significantly in the last few months. But I think this is just an example.
That wasn't by natural causes.
I'm sorry. We see this with the insurance agent, the big pharma. The Democrats are still saying are the bad guys, although they've signed on already. This is simply to me an example of the people paying the cannibals to eat them last. They're getting what they can now, and they're worried about their future.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming out.
Like you said, there wasn't going to be any loss of Medicare and Medicaid, but yet they're talking about the Medicare, I believe, advantage program, where there's 10 million seniors on there taking benefits of that program. That's one program they want to cut. Coming in here on the radio, I heard that one of the reasons why they want to cut and why AARP wants to get this removed from the plan is because AARP offers the same program, but at a lot higher premiums, and the Obama administration has agreed to let AARP take care of it and cost the seniors a whole lot more money, but yet nobody seems to want to talk about this program. Another thing coming in tonight is that the Senate committee just voted down again a bill for ID cards so that people collecting benefits from the government would have a permanent ID for health care or even for voting, and they shot it down. It seems like they don't care about the citizens of the United States. Right. But they're going to go backwards for the illegals.
For that. Obviously, we're going to have a means of figuring out who's in this country legally and who is not. We have to conceal our borders. It looks like we're doing less and less to do that. And my fear is as we make benefits and social structure more attractive, that we actually make a worse problem because we induce more people to come across our borders illegally and to make the problem worse and worse and worse. And then my ultimate fear is that at some point we're going to say, okay, let's just grant amnesty to everybody. If that happens, what you've done is you might as well hang a sign that says, come on in. Because everybody in the world is going to try and get to America because they know eventually we'll get to a point where we'll say, oh, okay, you're all citizens. So I think we got to be very, very careful about that issue and the impact that it has on our health care and on all our expenses. Yes, sir.